Welcome, Uncommon Analysis. I didn't plan on making a video today, but I feel like I have to make one based on this report that came out initially on X, alleging that a foreign whistleblower alleging that Shapiro was somehow directly involved with the assassination attempt on Donald Trump up in Butler last year. Now, let me start by saying that I do believe without question there was a conspiracy to murder Trump that day. I do not believe for 1 second that kid acted alone. He just happened to be the luckiest person in the world that it just happened that Trump's normal security team was not there. It just happened that the roof was left unopened, although multiple people told them they need to secure it. It just happened that multiple people on the ground that were just bystanders saw this guy milling around forever. They saw him up on the roof long before he was taking shots, and nothing was done about it. And it just happens that of all the Trump rallies that went on, this was the only one that CNN was broadcasting live. Those things don't add up to, nobody knew what was going on. It was just a random happenstance. Sorry, not buying it for 1 minute. And yes, CNN made a conscious decision they were not covering any Trump rallies live at all because they didn't want to give him free press like they did in 16 and 20. Yet the one he gets shot at, they damn sure were live from. And they didn't cut to it live. I mean, they were broadcasting it live. It wasn't like, oh, we found this out and we'll cut to our feed there. No, they were broadcasting live. They wanted him dead, and they wanted his brain splattered all over the place, and they wanted it on live TV for everyone to see. So I do not doubt for 1 second there was a conspiracy to murder Trump. The question I have that makes this suspicious to me, and what I believe is a rope-a-dope, is that I have a very difficult time believing Shapiro was directly involved. I think this is a rope-a-dope story. I think this is one of those ones set out there to get people to bite on it and then make them look like fools later. I'm not doubting that a whistleblower actually filed the claim. I don't doubt that report. That could very well be true. However, I have a very difficult time believing Josh Shapiro was involved in a grand conspiracy to execute Donald Trump. And why do I say that? Well, motive number one. What's in it for Shapiro? Shapiro's 50 years old. He's got 20 years or so in politics. He has built himself up. He's been growing and getting better and higher up the chain as he's gone over those 20 years. He had just won the governorship of Pennsylvania in 2022 solidly. He's a very popular governor. He'll almost certainly win re-election handily unless something very drastic changes in the state dynamic in 2024. So what's in it for him to kill Donald Trump? Well, the obvious argument back, well, he could then run for president. Well, true, but 2024 was a terrible year for Democrats. It didn't matter who their nominee was, they most likely were going to lose because of how bad the Biden administration had failed. So I have a hard time believing that Josh Shapiro, who is a very astute and smart guy, was going to say, hey, let me run here as a Democrat in a cycle where I know all of the fundamentals are against me. He's 50 years old. He was 50 years old at this time, guys. He's perfectly set up to run in 2028 or 2032, depending on how the winds are blowing. If Donald Trump's second term is an absolute disaster, if it looks like Biden 2.0, then Shapiro will be halfway through his second term, sitting pretty in a good position to run. And if Donald Trump's second term is good and it's a cakewalk for the Republican, then he can hold off till 2032. He'll have finished his term in 2030 because Pennsylvania does have term limits, so he can only serve as governor twice. That would end in 2030, and he'd be sitting pretty to take a shot at 2032. And he would still only be in his 50s on both those options. He'd still be in his 50s as a young man. So I just don't see strong motive here. I don't see a rationale why he would do it. I definitely see a rationale for the establishment to kill Trump because they don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican in the office. They just want it to be an establishment guy. So you kill Trump, another Republican establishment Republican steps forward, that establishment Republican probably wins. You've made Trump a martyr, and the Republican Party probably wins on top of it. They were going to win probably anyway, just on fundamentals. But you do that, but the Republican that wins is an establishment guy or girl, and so the establishment wins. So I definitely, without question, believe there was a conspiracy. I do not for 1 second, as I said, believe that that kid just happened to, all those things happen to go just right for him. Everybody turns a blind eye until he's taking the shot. Don't believe it for one minute. But I would be very wary of any of my audience members latching on to this as it's fact. I just don't see it. Now, obviously, anything could happen. I could be completely wrong here, but I just don't see it. A 50-year-old guy, career's on the great trajectory. He's now the governor of probably one of the most important states when it comes to presidential politics. He's going to have a lot of sway for his state and going to build up a lot of goodwill and leave office probably very popular. He's almost certainly going to win a second term and probably going to leave office very, very popular and parlay his governorship into the presidency. I don't think for 1 minute he won't try for the presidency, provided everything goes well. But I have a very hard time going, yeah, I'm going to get involved with that just so I could run now. That makes no sense to me. The fundamentals were just too anti the Democrats in 2024 for a guy that smart to say, I'm going to run now. Let alone I'm going to be involved in a murder plot so I can run now. That doesn't really add much to the risk-reward scenario, right? Either. So anyway, take it with a grain of salt. We'll see what happens if this goes anywhere, if this is just another one of those internet things that comes up and just goes nowhere. Clearly, if it was a formal report, there will eventually be a final investigation finding or closing of this matter. But my gut is I would advise those on the right, especially those on the far right who want to believe this, to just be calm and be a bit jaundiced at how you look at this, because I know there's a tendency for some to just jump on the bandwagon, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for today. I hope you have a great day. Again, if you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. And with that, I am out.